Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week number 46 of the HORRORman's SlashBack Saturday Challenge. This week's slasher movie theme is POV slashers or SOV slashers, so point of view or shot on video slashers. And I will be giving my review for Hangman. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. In this chilling found footage style horror film, a masked man breaks into a family's home and unknowingly takes refuge in their attic. Unaware of the intruder's presence, the sadistic stranger slowly begins to terrorize the suburban family, watching their every move before eventually killing them off with no clear motive or end to his madness. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. With this week's SlashBack Challenge theme of POV or SOV slashers, I chose to review Hangman because the entire movie is through the point of view of the killer, and also this movie seems to get overlooked, so this is the one that I wanted to talk about this week. The storyline for this one is basically we have a killer who stalks vacationing families. He pretty much waits in a parking garage for a family to park and leave their vehicle, and when they're out of sight, he breaks into their car, accesses the GPS, and gets directions to their home. Now, this killer is pretty tech smart. He is able to do this without sounding off any car alarms. And once he has the directions, he goes to the family home, he breaks in, and pretty much has his way with all their stuff. He goes through everything, makes a wreck of the house, he eats their food, and he even watches their homemade family movies. So he gets a pretty good idea of who he is dealing with. As soon as the family returns home, they discover the wreckage. They immediately search for the intruder. They call and report it to the police. The police search the premises and find no intruder. This leaves the family to clean up the mess and try to make an attempt to move on with their lives. But, of course, with these events that have taken place, everyone is more or less scared and uneasy about staying in the home. But in the end, this is the family home. Even though everyone is shaken up by the break-in, they just want their lives to go back to normal and get settled back into their normal lifestyle and into their normal routines. But ultimately, this could prove to be a big mistake because they don't realize they have a deadly killer that has settled into a nice hiding spot in the attic. He watches each and every move they make through cameras he has placed throughout the entire house. What's also creepy about it is he comes out of the attic at night while everyone is asleep. He watches them while they lay in their beds. Also, it's kind of hinted that he is actually even having conversations with the youngest child. He moves around the house undetected, leaving little subtle clues all over the place that things might not be what they seem, but the family is determined to get their life back to normal and get back to their normal lifestyle. An example of one of the hints that the killer leaves out in plain sight is that he will leave the orange juice on the counter. The next day, when the family discovers the juice left out on the counter, they decide that someone must have been sleepwalking through the night. When it happens 2 days in a row, the second day, the father takes the blame. We already know that it's the killer that's leaving it out on the counter because we see him taking a drink of it and spitting back into the container. And then the next day we see the father turn it up and take a big swig of it. And that's just gross. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the cast of characters we have in Hangman. And the Hangman killer is this story's main character. The entire movie is through his point of view. And of course his point of focus is this family. And they are pretty much your average family with husband and wife, daughter and son. We have a few other side characters like the daughter's boyfriend. We have a family friend who is more or less like a repairman. He is installing a new security system. We have another couple who come over to have drinks with the husband and wife. And I also wanted to mention that this movie opens up with the killer pretty much doing his thing, his finishing up with a previous family. Overall, I thought all the characters were pretty good, and I thought all the acting was really good. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. So I really like the killer in this movie. I consider him to be creepy and cruel. And the reason why I say that is I feel like it's creepy because he's able to stalk around the family home during the day and night, and he goes unnoticed, especially at nighttime when he's watching the family while they sleep. That's just really creepy, having someone watching you while you sleep. Also, I thought the look of the killer was pretty cool, but it basically looks like he's wearing pantyhose over his head, and it reminds me of a classic line, "Son, you got a panty on your head." Anyway, I consider him to be cruel because he has this family fighting against each other. He pretty much has them all set up to where it really feels like this family's falling apart and they're just fighting with each other. We don't really learn too much about the killer other than he seems to be a disturbed individual. There are a few scenes within the movie to where he gets really upset and starts to hit himself in the head. He seems to be mainly focused on the mother character. He seems to be a little jealous of her. But overall, we really don't learn too much about the killer, and I think that's actually pretty cool. It pretty much leaves him as a mystery. And as far as the kills go within this movie, we get a few pretty decent kills, but this is not a high body count movie. I recall maybe 5 kills, but this is more about the suspense, and the kills that we do get are pretty good, and I would probably consider a few of them to be cruel, which fits the killer's personality. But overall, I thought this was a really fun and entertaining point-of-view style slasher movie, of course, through the point of view of the killer. And I feel like this one's a little bit overlooked. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I believe it's worth a watch. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Hangman, or just let me know what you think about my review. And I would like to thank you all for watching.